Good afternoon to everybody. Thanks to be here again for the second part of the Smart Talk session. So, hosting me, Giusy Bettoni, and I try to, invite you today to the world of technology. Technology that is also responsible. So that is a technology square, or cube to a certain extent, with three really important innovators, each one coming from completely different fields, from completely different materials. And, this morning we heard about circular economy. Today we are going to hear a little bit some, pioneers, but that are already also in the market with amazing things. And the first part, that for me it's quite interesting and challenging at the same time, technology and cotton. Giannis is your stage. So, Giannis is part of Varvaressos, we call it the ambassador of Supreme Green Cotton, this new material that is going to talk very soon. And he's also a friend of study of Aristotle, because we're in Greece now. So, Giannis, it's your stage. The format is the same, so we are going to talk for the next more or less 45 minutes, and we will have 15 minutes at the end for any kind of questions. Please.
Okay, can you hear me? Yeah. Hello everybody, my name is Giannis. I am from Varvaressos spinning mills located in Nausa, in northern Greece. And we are a family-owned business. We were established in 1964. We have a long tradition and experience in spinning. We're currently owning 3 modern spinning mills in Greece. We are processing 5,000 tons of natural fibers per year. No chemicals, just machine processing. We are having 54,000 ring and compact spindles, and we are selling yarns worldwide in more than 20 countries. We have been certified last year via STEP by Ecotex for sustainable textile production processes, and we own several other certifications that
like the ISO 14,000, that means energy management, water management. It's really a key one at company level.
So we are also here today we are also the biggest employer of our area, which might not be a really big one, but it used to have really long tradition in textiles. And we are employing around 210 people currently. So
that is important.
So I am here also to speak about our unique Supreme Green Cotton project. And what exactly is Supreme Green Cotton? It is a system of solutions. It's a smart new generation of cotton that is characterized by a chain of values. It is based on trust and partnership between all the partners involved in the production and supply chain. It is focused on quality and sustainability, because for us these are two things that are equal. If you have a high quality, then the product from this material is going to be of high quality and is going to be sustainable, because people are going to wear it longer, and it is not going to end up being disposed really fast and easily. So we are using for our system, for our project, science and technology, and as Giusy said before, we are also taking advantage of the holistic philosophy that was taught by our Greek ancestors, like Aristotle. We said that if one way is better than the other, then that's the way of nature. So, what is really unique about this project? It is 100% made in Greece the total transportation, the total logistics from the cotton seed, from the cotton field to the spinning mill where the yarn is being produced is less than 200 kilometers in total.
So Giannis, just to be, because it was a surprise also for me last year when I got to know that in Greece they are cultivating cotton. And it's not a niche, it's really an important part of the, your market. And so when he's saying that we're saving CO2, he's meaning that, between where the farmers are cultivating cotton and the ginning and then the spinner, it's 80 kilometers, 100 kilometers from ginning mills, Varvaressos and so.
It's 193 to be precise.
That's just to be precise. Yeah. So that when you say 100% Greek, it means 100% down there. So from the beginning.
Thank you very much, Giusy. So this is a localized project, and we get to have unique advantages, like minimizing the CO2 footprint, but also being able to have a really transparent and traceable production and supply chain, which is really, really important. And we are also providing the QR code on the labels, on the handles, that shows this exact transparent and traceable chain. And, of course, our cotton is non-genetically modified. So we're using a non-GMO cotton seed, and smart and precision farming and technology in order to get the most out of it. A really important aspect is water. Cotton, as you may or may not know, is a really, let's say, water-intensive crop. And in our unique proprietary Supreme Green Cotton Protocol, we are having, let's say, some requirements, besides some obligations, besides of rights. So one of them, and the really important one, is the use of drip irrigation systems. So instead of flooding the fields with water or overspraying the fields with water, we are using this proprietary technology from the Israelis to water the plants drop by drop directly to the roots, which is saving up to 40% of water.
Can we just, sorry to interrupt, but these are things I just learned and I like to share. The drip irrigation system is great, but think about the farmers, because we have been in the evening with them, because they launched it at Première Vision and things are going really well. But think about the fact that these farmers have been used to drip, to put the water that they wanted when they felt it was the right time. People that was using to do this job for maybe 60, 70 years, depending on the family. But now what is happening, is because this drip-by-drip irrigation system is linked with the satellite for the meteor to tell you when it's going to rain, the humidity, all these things. So the satellite is communicating to farmers what they have to do.
It's actually, sometimes it looks funny, and these are really, technologically advanced things, but it is easy to implement. So the technology is there, we just have to make a decision to use it. And that's what we did. So as Giusy said, it's really important to also educate not just the people, but also the farmer, which is really, really important thing for us. And the Supreme Green Cotton Project, education is key throughout the whole production and supply chain.
Because it's value.
Of course.
So farmers are looking to the smart devices to understand what to do every morning, and it's amazing. And at the beginning it was really a little bit difficult, because they said, I know what I'm doing since a long time, so how do you dare to tell me what I have to do now? But now they got to the point, because it's also efficiency,
Exactly.
also for them.
So what, in simple words, what we are doing is we are helping the farmers, we are providing them with the smart tools and the technology needed so that they can produce more on a better way by using less. So this is really simple, but not a lot of people are doing it. Then, about the quality of the cotton, as I said, this is a project that is completely traceable, so we have separated it in each and every production step to maintain not just the traceability but the unique characteristics of the quality. So we are machine picking the cotton, which is providing us the reassurance that it will be contamination free, and we are ginning the cotton, so we're separating the cotton fiber from the cotton seed on a specific and slower way, so we're not going towards mass overproduction, but we're doing it separately in order to not damage the fiber and to maintain the unique quality characteristics. So, yeah.
Huge savings there,
Yeah.
and here as well.
Yeah. So we are also using renewable energy sources throughout the whole production process. So in Varvaressos, in the spinning mill, we're using 20 to 25% of our own renewable energy sources, plus the ones from the electricity provider. The ginning mill is also doing the same, and we are having really, really huge savings regarding energy, CO2, water, and then...
And the Made in Green is amazing because it's just started and you are already certified.
Yeah. So it's for us it's really, really important the fact that we are Made in Green by Ecotech certified, and that our product is Ecotech standard First Plus, which means that it is suitable for baby use, and also including the Annex 6, which is a lot stricter. It contains testing for more substances. This is not something that somebody asked us to do, but we did it on our own in order, to measure and...
Yeah, I think that, I don't know how much of you are, familiar with the Made in Green, but Made in Green means that the company and the product, so both of them are suitable for the standards that have been set by Ecotech from all perspectives. So for us it's really important that it's not just the product but also the company. It's the company that is making the product,
Yeah.
and so if the company is not active sustainably, the product is just maybe a greenwashing sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. So, some of these things we already said about the irrigation system, the smart farming tools, the cultivation protocol, which is what I like to say the ERP of the farm, of the field. And one really, really important factor is the socially equitable and economically viable production for all the parties involved in the chain. So we are also reimbursing the farmers. We are paying them more money. We are giving them a better price because people, we cannot only ask for things without giving back. This is really important. And we are also now planning to do an actual giving back to the farmers' regions that will support local schools and maybe also some scholarships for farmers' children that want to deal with textiles and then enter this chain in a circular way. This is just an example of conventional irrigation. This is the worst one, where you divert water from the rivers and the lakes and you just flood the fields with water, which is unneeded, but is faster and cheaper. And here you can see the drip irrigation system, which is directly irrigating the root of the plant. So also fertilization is being applied by the same system. As said before, 193 kilometers of transportation in total. And Supreme Green Cotton is also a registered trademark. We're providing hand tags to the Supreme Green Cotton partners, and they contain the QR code with all the information about the whole production and supply chain. We also have the supremegreencotton.eu website with a traceability system where you can also watch the video presentation, which is having no actors. They're just, good-looking Greek people that are part of the chain. And here is an example that you can just take out your phone and open your camera app and scan the QR code, and you will see a sample of what can be done with the system, which is really, really unique and really, really important. So, let us all join our efforts towards a sustainable fashion future. And sustainability, what I always like to say is that sustainability is not, let's say, a state. It is the goal, and to reach that goal, you have to go to a never-ending process, and it is a commitment to never stop improving. So, thank you very, very much.
And let's keep also talking about farmers, because we have Ricardo Garay with us. So he's the International Project Coordinator at Circular System. And you have a background as a farmer, Ricardo, researcher and designer that have shaped the deep understanding of production practices. So really happy to have you here today. And you can take us through another journey, that has been also rewarded many awards all over the world. Has come to, for Circular System. So.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's wonderful to be here. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Circular economy case history, really. 360 degrees.
Perfect. Yeah, so today I'm going to talk a little bit about circular systems and the work that we do, but I will also talk a little bit more in generalities about how we define regenerative systems and the bridging of the gap between agriculture and textiles, and proposing that if we do so, what that kind of shift can do in terms of possibilities for actually giving back to our economies, to our people, and to our planet. Wants to collaborate. Oops, sorry. Oh, thank you. Oh, yep, perfect. Okay. Yep. There we go. So, first, a little bit of background about what we do at Circular Systems. We are a material science company. So we focus on the actual production of things like fiber and fabrics and finished textiles, but we also are in the business of designing systems. And so we really focus on bridging the gap between raw materials and the technology, and thinking about them in a holistic way to help maximize the regenerative impact possibilities. And we're really proud to be a social purpose corporation. We're an SPC, meaning that we're not guided just by profit. We're actually guided by our impacts on communities globally and as well on the environment. So we're really lucky that we get to actually put that at the very core of our business model. And our technologies actually impact all 17 of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. And that's because of a combination of the business model, the technology, as well as the actual, the business concept behind it. So And we have 3 different platforms by which we do this, by which we convert waste into valuable resources. We don't have time to talk about all of them today. I'd be happy to connect with you and discuss a little bit more about our different approaches and how they all fit in to a systems of solutions after. But just a little broad overview, AGRALOOP is what we're going to be focusing on a bit more today, and that is our biorefinery concept, where we take agricultural waste and convert it into a biofiber. We have TechSoup, which is our mechanical recycling platform, where we can convert things like cotton and things like polyester into valuable goods. And Orbital is our hybrid spinning technology, where we're able to convert a high amount of recycled content and still have really high performance yarns. And that's due to the combination of staple and filament. And that's just due to the construction of those yarns. We can have really added benefits like moisture wicking without any chemical finishing. But again, that won't be the exact focus of today. And so I don't need to frame the problem too much for all of you in this room, I'm sure. But just to frame a little bit of the transformational capabilities that we have as a people, we've seen the energy sector go from being incredibly extractive and dirty to having more abundant renewables, so things like solar and wind, and that's amazing. We've seen a similar situation with the automotive industry going to electric vehicles. That's incredible. That's amazing that we're able to do that. And what we're proposing at Circular Systems is that by reframing the way that we view waste and giving it a value, actually changing our vernacular, stop calling it waste, and looking at it as an abundant resource that can bring abundance to all of us, that's where the true unlock will come from. And so this situation that we have at the moment, where we have a system fundamentally fractured. We have a system that's mostly based on GMO cotton, not wonderful cotton solutions like we just heard from. That's the exemplary one. That's what we want to transition all cotton to. Cotton's always going to be important. It's a beautiful blending material. It's amazing in a lot of regions in the world. I'm not trying to villainize it in that way, just mostly saying that for the majority, in most situations, it is an extractive way of doing agriculture. Polyester as well, the other kind of 60% of the fiber mix in the world, also quite extractive, leads to unintended consequences with microplastic pollution, all these fragments that I'm sure you're all aware of at this moment. We have to find solutions for this. And luckily, we do have some tailwinds of change, where finally we have these mega trends, as we call sustainability, finally starting to take effect. So we have people demanding products that are sustainably made. We have people, the industry as a whole, making very aggressive material regulations and commitments. That's amazing to see. We also have governments starting to crack down, and we're also just running out of raw materials and resources. So finally, things are starting to change. And last month, I was actually at a conference called the Regenerative Earth Summit, and I was speaking to some friends from Whole Earth Marketing and Regen Friends, and it was amazing and so hopeful to hear that they had conducted this gigantic survey where now we're actually going past the sustainable consumer, and consumers are actually demanding regenerative solutions. And not just that, but they actually want their products to be tied to the regenerative systems behind them. And this was incredible to hear because, you know, oftentimes, I'm sure this happens to many of you in the room, you kind of get bogged down and you get weighed down by the immensity of the situation that we have at hand. But now we even have the end consumer starting to demand the change and understanding what does regeneration mean and what does restorative practice look like. And so for us, regeneration, as we refer to it, as this restorative process, we at Circular Systems really define it as beginning and ending with the soil. And what we mean by that is, you know, we're faced by global climate change, and we're running out of solutions to help draw down carbon quickly enough to actually make an impact. but we actually have natural systems that we can actually tap into, utilize, leverage, and actually help to rebuild and restore, that can actually help to mitigate these challenges, in fact, reverse these challenges. So if we can unlock the true potential of soil and agricultural lands and forests and our seas, and actually help to encourage photosynthesis, then we're going to have incredible results. And so with one of our solutions, the AGRALOOP, this is one of our main focuses for our fiber solution. And it's, again, where we take agricultural waste, so things like food crop waste, and convert it into a biofiber. And, you know, there's a lot of amazing solutions on the market. And, you know, I think what I really want to focus on is this is not just the only solution. There's a lot of amazing solutions, and we need diverse solutions in order for us to survive as a species and help to heal our planet. Yeah.
This is, I think, a key point, because you know, we're not here to say that it's just one good thing. You know, it's a complexity, but there are many solutions, interesting solutions, that has to go together, and we need to have as much as more information about them. So thanks for pointing out this important part.
No, thank you. I mean, we're in this room in order to collaborate and to help connect these solutions. That's what we want to see at Circular Systems. That's what we're so excited to connect with like-minded people and actually move the needle quickly enough to actually make an impact. But what is, I believe, unique about AGRALOOP, and which is why I'm so proud to work on it so intensely, is because it connects to the soil in this way. So we've identified many different types of agricultural residues or food crop waste that we can utilize and upgrade into biofiber. We focus on things like oilseed hemp, oilseed flax. Again, we're talking about the plant residue, so not the food crop. We're saying grow the food and we'll utilize the waste. In most situations, like oilseed hemp and oilseed flax, they're typically grown for fiber or grown for food. And that kind of divide is what we're saying we have a solution for. Grow your food, use that land, use those resources, that water, to grow that food, feed the world masses that need nutrition, and we'll utilize the waste. We can also do things like banana, pineapple, even more and more we're doing trials with cotton stalks and cooperating with cotton farmers, so we should definitely keep talking. And so what we're saying now is that these agricultural residues, if we're talking about the tropics like banana and pineapple, these are left out in the field in trenches very often, and they go anaerobic and they produce a lot of methane. So you can imagine that impact that has on our environment. We also have a situation where even in North America, like in Canada, these flax fields or hemp fields are actually just burned. So you can imagine all that CO2 being released. So these are huge climate liability issues that we have at hand. So if we looked at the AGRALOOP biorefinery as just that solution, I would say that's already pretty good. Taking that would have that environmental impact and make it into a valuable good, fantastic. But where I think the true magic comes from is from setting the soil, again, at the center, where we can take the crop waste, we put it into the biorefinery. I think it's best to conceive of the AGRALOOP as a series of solutions, a system approach, where we have things like mechanical processing, we have hydrothermal, so high pressure, high temperature, and we also have a biochemical process. And as you can see here, if you look at the top, we're actually saying that you can take the crop material, extract that biochemical or biochemistry out of the plant material itself, and use that to actually upgrade the fiber. And so that's where we've proven that out on a lab stage. We're still scaling that. So that's our North Star. But we're really excited about that possibility. And just framing it in that way, using nature in that way, brings a huge unlock. We're also saying that the biomass itself, so the food crop waste, can also be used to power the mini mill itself. So in the future, this will be entirely closed loop. So we won't actually need any external resources in order to run these. So you can imagine these being dropped down into really marginalized communities, agricultural communities, where people can actually extract biochemicals that can be used for all sorts of other applications, can be used for running their lights in their community, for instance, and we're still producing this biofiber. So if you look at it like that, that's already a pretty integrated approach, and we're really proud about that. But if you can see at the top, the organic soil amendment is where I think the true regenerative impact can come from. And that's from us putting good chemistry, as our CTO, Giusy says, putting good chemistry in, good chemistry out. So if you know enough about fiber processing, and you know enough about agricultural systems, you can actually design a fiber processing system that is in line with that agricultural system. We know what plants need. We know what it will take to actually restore our global soils. So that's how we've designed the system. And we're working on setting up some pilot situations where we can actually do these tests to understand how much carbon, soil carbon we're restoring and having in long-term storage in the soil. We're really excited about some of the farming groups and working with regenerative grazers and all sorts of other amazing communities globally to bring this to market and to make sure that we can heal our soil and sequester carbon quickly enough. So this is what we're proposing as one of the solutions moving forward to have a truly regenerative impact. In 2 days, it's Global Soil Day. And so I think if we all just take a moment and think about the earth and the earth's needs and look at it from that perspective and start to shorten the divide between the clothing that we wear and the natural systems that we inhabit, then I think that we stand a chance and we can do this all together. So that's a bit of my soapbox, but yeah, and that is me. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ricardo. You know, we went from Mount Olympus to the world, and I think we have a lot to talk about, I think, together. And Cheri, last but not least, you know, we have another amazing solution, you know, that is coming from EVRNU. So Cheri is product development and experience at EVRNU, and it's really a textile innovation company. So we go back to, you know, how to be sustainable, but at the same time, technology is helping us a lot, you know, responsible innovation. Cheri, would you like to introduce us to these, you know?
Yes. So as Giusy was mentioning, I work at EVRNU. I've been in the retail industry for over 25 years. And about 3 years ago, I decided that I wanted to do something a little bit more purposeful and meaningful in our industry, and so that really led me to EVRNU. With EVRNU is an innovations company, and through that innovations company, we launched new technologies. And I'm pleased to say that we launched our first technology this year, New Cycle, in collaboration with Stella McCartney and Adidas. So the New Cycle technology really is to purify post-consumer textile waste. And so as you see on this slide, there's really a 5-step process that we work with along with our brands and retailers and supply chain partners in order to bring the New Cycle technology to the market. So first we gather. And so we gather textile waste. We can bring in post-consumer textile waste. That really is where our two co-founders really wanted to have an impact. We wanted to make sure that textile waste was not going into landfill any longer. And, you know, I'm from the States, and I know that there's municipalities in the States as well where they're saying, we cannot bring any more textile waste into landfill. So our waste owners, so that's including ourselves, we're part of the New Cycle. We need to New Cycle old textile waste, working with waste owners, working with brands and retailers on their dead stock, and even at a consumer standpoint, where if we have unwanted, unused textiles that we need to bring back into the system, that really is the beginning of our process, and that's where everybody can be a part of it. Then we go in and we purify this textile waste so that we can use this resource in bringing into brand new fiber. Through that process, we're taking all the contaminants off of the textile waste, and then we're bringing it into a pulp. Similar to what you would see if you were working with a wood pulp. We go into kind of a soup where we're building pulp so that we're able to then introduce this pulp in with the solvent system and able to extrude fiber. From there, then we take our fiber and we blend with cotton. So right now, we're focused with cellulosic because there really wasn't a solution out in the marketplace to be able to regenerate cellulosic. So we blend our fiber with cotton and build it into yarn. And then from there, we work with our brands and retailers to build new fabrics and new garments. So that is New Cycle. And then next, I'm going to share with you our partnership that we had with Stella McCartney and Adidas back in July. So as you see on the slide, and then also what I have in front of me, this was our first commercialized product that we built with New Cycle fiber. So this sweatshirt in partnership with the Stella McCartney team and the Adidas team is made from 60% New Cycle fiber and 40% cotton. And everything down to the label is made so that this entire sweatshirt could be regenerated. There's not one component on this hoodie that couldn't come back into our system and be broken down to the molecular level and then built into brand new fiber and could create the next pair of jeans or a t-shirt or the next product. So with this product, this was the first commercialized product that we built with our brand and retail partners. Our plan in 2020 is to go to consumer launch. So this hoodie was intended for influencers and ambassadors, people that support Adidas and Stella McCartney. But really in 2020, our goal is to be going to consumer to launch new product. In the meantime, we're also building our supply chain as well, because as you can imagine, we have our own pre-production line, but it cannot produce the millions of garments that an Adidas or Stella McCartney would want to generate. So we are engaging with the supply chain partners so that we can build out that process and be able to bring our technology to scale.
This is a perfect hint also to talk a little bit about the new business model that you have, because now we are seeing these, we have done last year, but it's more than 8 years?
Yeah. Yes, for Stacy, but 5 years since EVRNU was established, yes.
Okay, so it's a long process.
Yes.
It's not something that came suddenly, it has been a big, work behind. So, but what has been the business model and which could be the next level, for 2020, because this is really amazing, because the answer of the consumer to this has been huge.
Yes. Yes, and be able to bring that resource back in because, as you were hearing, the savings of water emissions, but really to not have the garment waste go into landfill, which is causing methane, which is 20 times stronger than CO2, is a phenomenal way of getting back that resource and being able to regenerate it into a new product.
This means also new laws, I think, that you have to overcome, I remember Stacy talking about the fact that she was doing contract, with these waste, because there are tons and tons. You say that in US, but in Europe it's not really
right. Yeah.
So yes, it requires skills that goes over, developing something. That's the meaning.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So yes, the waste owners are trying to figure out what do we do with this textile waste. So, I've mentioned the cellulosic side, but we're also working on the polyester side because there is solutions for polyester. People are mechanically separating them and bringing back polyester into new garments, but we're also able to work on the polyester because as a waste owner, about 50% of the fiber market is in cotton and polyester. So to be able to give them a solution of what do I do with a polyester textile waste, we have a solution as well for that.
those before we open up the conversation. There is a suggestion that you want to give to people looking for sustainable materials, because we are here talking about these materials, but I can assure you that every day at class, people is coming and say, where can I find premium materials? Where can I find sustainability? How can I get them? How to define a sustainable material?
Sure, not an easy question. Overall, I think, at the individual level, I think we have to set our own kind of moral guidelines. For some of us, veganism is important. For some of us, not wearing plastics is important. I think you have to make that internal compass, that internal guideline, and kind of stick to that, and be diligent and ask tough questions. I think if you oftentimes take a material and you go just a few steps back, you can uncover some dirty truths. And so I think, be as holistic as you can. Granted, we have limited hours in the day. But yeah, I think just the pursuit of that question, I think, is the most interesting. Sticking to that and asking that every day as a consumer, as people that work in this industry, is crucial. And I think even with that, we're on the right path. And then, of course, choose some of these amazing solutions because they're the real deal, and that's pretty wonderful. So,
thank you, Ricardo. Gianni?
Yeah, so I completely agree with Ricardo. I think that I would like to add that what I said before about education and information. So this is the key to all. We need to be informed. We need to ask to be informed and to educate ourselves, because when we truly understand and really take a grasp of what is going on, then we can, let's say, introduce our inner moral compass by having the information to guide it towards the right way.
Yeah. I agree with you both, and I would also say too that I think that all good work is good work, so anything that is moving us forward is wonderful. I always say to myself too is vote with your wallet. We only have one wallet, and so supporting the brands and retailers that do have supported sustainability initiatives and are working towards even stronger initiatives in the future. So that's how I vote, and that's where I decided to leave the retail industry of just take, make, and always that linear model of making product to really understanding how we could become more of a circular system.
That's really good. I just said that if a product is not traceable and transparent and it's not measurable, I think these are two questions we keep asking. But now it's time for you. So, any questions for this group? Please.
Hi, my name is Katie. I work as CMF designer, CMF colors, materials and finishes. Two questions. One is for Cheri, and then the second one is for Giannis. So let's start with Cheri, because you're costumes. So in terms of the regenerative fabric in your process, because both paper and cotton, the fibers, the more you recycle them, the shorter they get, and therefore the quality of fabric diminishes. So I wonder if there is like a number of times that you're able, that beyond, let's say, 7, which is usually for the cotton.
Sure. Yeah. So we're an early stage R&D company. When we scale, we'll have additional claims that we can put on our technology of bringing back the material. Like I was mentioning with the sweatshirt, it could come back and become a t-shirt or a jean. What we've done in the R&D scale is that we've seen that we can recover the molecules up to 5 times, and then they just start to naturally break down into smaller. Then they naturally turn into a starch, and then to a sugar, and then just get absorbed within the earth. But we will be able to make additional claims as we go into consumer and start to bring up our production.
Thank you. And then, Giannis, in terms of the drip technology, I guess one of the reasons behind which people don't implement it perhaps straight away is the financial aspect. Is that correct? And if so, like, are there, for instance, because of the water saving, is that where, for instance, the money that's been invested in the drip technology can then be taken, like, substituted, so to speak? So, if you were taking water, you need to pay your water bill, but you're buying the drip technology, you're spending 40% less in water, therefore that can be, how does the economy of scale and like the financial?
Well, actually, you're absolutely right. So, what is being done, what is being needed is that you need to make an investment on the drip irrigation technology. That you get your money back, of course, after some time, but most of the time, people are not willing, to invest up front some money, and they are mainly thinking about short-term solutions which are not exactly sustainable. And this is why we at Varvaressos are, let's say, paying to the farmers a much better price so that they can support these new technologies and to compensate them. Because as I said before, and this is something that we must all, I think, understand in the textile industry, that we cannot just ask for things without giving. So you cannot ask from the farmer to invest or to do things your way without giving the proper reimbursement and to motivate them to do the right thing. I think Ricardo, you have a farming background, so I mean my grandfather also used to be a farmer, so it's really tough for the basis of the production chain to be asked for many things for which they are not getting the proper reimbursement. And this is, in my point of view and in my opinion, this is not ethical. And we need to really, let's say, concentrate our efforts towards improving this. And so, thank you.
So I guess, like, when you're selling the fabric and the cotton, the fibers, etc., they come at a bigger price as well. So then, how would you communicate to the brand to, invest the money, the additional value in the money in the product, basically, in the fabric? Because then that means they have higher costs. So because as in the previous talk, someone was saying, it's all down to numbers in all these meetings. So I wonder, for instance, from your experience, how do you convince and convey that message in order to achieve basically a purchasing result, and therefore the brand implements that story, that fiber?
So these are really good questions. Thank you very much for them. So the answer is simple: by being completely open, honest, and transparent. So we are explaining every single step of the production process. We are explaining what is being performed, what we are doing. We are investing a lot in many things, but the one thing that we invest more into, and I really like this, is we are investing into synergy. So, we have to collaborate, we have to synergize with each and every single member of the production and supply chain, and not, cut them off and just squeeze the prices to get the most out of what we want, but to consider about long term. And actually this is what sustainability is all about. I mean, sustainability has three main pillars. The one is about the environmental aspect. The other one is the ethical one, the social equitability, and the other one that many people usually forget is the financial viability. So for a project to be sustainable, it needs to be able to sustain itself also economically and financially. And this needs to be properly explained, and without any, gray zones or black boxes, and to be completely direct and transparent with what we are doing everybody.
I think we are back to a very important point, is how to communicate values. Because if it's going to send, to start selling cotton, it's going to be expensive. And you have 100% right to say, are someone going to pay the bill? But if we talk about what Supreme Green Cotton is about, and this is a big change, because we have been using trade brands in the 80s and 90s just to say, like Gore-Tex, like, performing stretch and, protection. Now the trade brands are standing for the process behind them. So it's a new era, really, of communication, when the integration of these values, it's really important then, not to protect, but to share with people. And the only way is really to have, the open, we was mentioning the tag, everybody's talking about processes. You need to know. Maybe someone is not going to be interested, as the guy of this morning was saying, but a lot of people are at the moment, because there is a lot of confusion in the market. Everything is bio, everything is eco-friendly, green. What does it mean? So if you share with people the process, a way to do things, and then it's a choice, but it's a conscious choice at least, because it's not like it's, at the moment many people is doing, this is my, organic cotton. But organic cotton is important, but it's not enough to support maybe values like this, So we need to, 15 years ago when we started, everybody was concentrated to give solution as a material because we didn't have any materials. Today we have the possibility to play. You heard just today how many expression you have. But if we keep communicating this new generation of material like a conventional, we are going to miss the new generation of values consumers are looking for. And if they do not get the value, they will not pay the bill. I will not pay the bill if I do not get the value, honestly. So it's really a question to align the product development, the creation, with the communication of new generation. But it's not just, it's green, it's shaped, but it's amazing because we choose with the eyes, no problem. But as soon as my eyes are happy, I want to know more. So I touch as well. Thank you. Any other question?
Hi, I think this is for everyone. To your point of communication, the retailer I'm working for at the moment, we're talking about we want to be communicating the good that we're doing on certain garments, but then there's this real fear around, well, we're not doing good or as good on other garments. Is there going to be a backlash around that? So I think there's this real, we want to be promoting and making people more aware to, shop this product, this is great. But there just seems to be this real culture of, blame seems wrong, but that there's just going to be a huge backlash and potential suing or something like that. Is it just going to highlight anything that's not quite there yet? It feels like it's a real fine line at the moment.
From my perspective, I think we are getting there because it's like, the perception is if I, communicate sustainability, I will be in trouble because someone is going to, backlash. But even not saying to the world that I'm God in sustainability and I'm doing perfect things, and I'm just saying what I'm doing, even if it's 1%, it's not enough, I agree. But if I communicate that, I keep saying, 10 years ago we were doing conferences and Gucci was with us and they were talking about, they were using recycled paper. Now we are smiling. But 10 years ago people will say, hey, a luxury brand using recycled paper. So, but it was good, So it's not one or the other, but telling openly what you're doing. And another thing, progressing. So this year I'm going to replace the paper, next year I'm going to replace 10% of wood, whatever. But, being also honest, because we consumer, I go back to the fact that if I can trace how you do things, and you give me measurements, so you're saying that you replace, recycled paper, there are certifications that can tell it, and there are, analysis that you can do, so show it to me, because nobody of us is a scientist. I do not want to look at the book to understand what I'm buying. I do not have the time, so that is the next level. So it's true, but there are ways, step by step. It's a new culture of product, and we need to have a new culture of marketing and communication that is not a greenwash also, so that's from my perspective.
And I would just add and say, when we did the Infinite hoodie with Stella McCartney and Adidas, we did 50 units, but it's seeding good movement. So like I had said earlier, any good movement is positive movement forward. So the plans with, Adidas and Stella McCartney, they plan to do a very small press event, but now we're working on what does that first hero product look like? What does the next capsule look like? What does then a percentage of their cotton products look like? What does a percentage of their polyester look like? So it all starts at a very small scale, but if you have the positive energy behind it to move into a bigger percentage of your business, then that is achieving your goal.
So it's probably that transparency around what your goals are as well.
Yes.
This is where we are now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Once you set the goal, and the goal can be completely different from one brand to another one, it can be, we have seen today just 3 of them, but we can have water, we can have chemicals, we can have animals, we can have, or many of them. But once you say, that's my role, I want to do beautiful garments that are really innovative and responsible, my level of responsibility is going to be in that area, because it's impossible for people to do 100% sustainable and to ticking all the box. It's impossible. That's why I think a lot of the media was quite upset, because at the beginning, some years ago, people would say, I'm 100%, I'm the most, like they were used to do in the 80s and 90s, that, where you have the right color and the right shape, you wear the dog. But now it's not enough. So that's where I think the problem
No, that's good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other, or we can close here, and our friends will remain around. So if you would like to have more conversation and question, I think they're going to be available. Thank you very much. Thank you.